they're getting their vetoes done and into game, so let's do it. As we do have in the bottom left-hand corner, the red Zerg player here is soO. Taking on the blue Terran in the top right corner of the map, this is going to be Team GP's Ryung. Oh, Ryung definitely likes to play a bit of mech sometimes, and is also a strong bio player, so expecting this to be fun and competitive. Excited to see what is going to be going on here as we get this underway. Early stages of game number 1 in this best of 3. So yeah, best of 3 TVZ, and like I say, plenty of games to come today, guys. Loads going on as we work our way through this qualifier. The last Korean qualifier for HomeStory Cup, so after today we know all of our Korean players, which is very exciting to have confirmed. And we'll be excited to see those guys all in Krefeld, Germany, next month, of course. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Excited to be there myself. Again, that will be at the end of July, second to last week in July, around the 23rd of July, that weekend. Come along if you can. Get yourself a ticket. Come to Krefeld. Generally a pretty cheap place to attend. Hotels are usually pretty cheap. Food is very cheap. Drinks are pretty cheap. Really just depends on your flight. If you can fly in a Düsseldorf, not the biggest airport out there either, so sometimes also fairly cheap. Yeah, give you honestly pretty affordable trip for a lot of people, I'd say. So if you get the chance, come along, come have some fun in HomeStory Cup. It's probably one of the best StarCraft 2 events you would ever attend. It's a hell of a lot of fun. Or don't, just watch it at home and miss out. Yeah, no, it is genuinely fun though, and there's a reason I bring it up. I'm not paid to tell you guys to come and attend or anything. I just genuinely think it is worth letting you guys know that. You can, go if you want to, and if you can get there, it's, like I said, I always think it's one of the best experiences for a StarCraft fan compared to going to a lot of the other events where it very much is just kind of watching the StarCraft in a crowd. HomeStory Cup is really something a little bit extra than that, Factory down, a couple Hellions on the way out, Starport is on the way in. As going to be seeing our link speed is on its way up here at the moment and just getting going. Not too much to shout about super early on in this ZvT, looking pretty comfortable. As it is just going to be a pretty quick stim actually out of Ryung. So quick stim pack obviously allows you to apply a lot of bio pressure quite early on in the game, so nice little starting point. Ryung, like I say, he's definitely one of these players that's very happy to switch it up, play some different styles a lot of the time, and very entertaining to watch because of that. So see what he comes out with today, see what he brings to the table in this TVZ. Obviously, right now, looking as though he's going to play a bit of bio. The thing about Ryung as well is it's not just like bio or mech or what's he going to do. Like, he will 2-base all in, he will 3-base all in. He can hit you with so many different things off of, the same generic composition. I think that's a pretty cool part of Ryung just being very fun to watch. And again, it's just cool to see Ryung back and doing well himself. Obviously, another player that's been to the military, returned, having success on his return. It is just amazing that we can talk about that now, because that was just something unheard of in the past, coming back from the military and being able to be successful, or just returning to StarCraft 2 in general. So again, really cool that we're in this state now that actually we can have players returning and being competitive and holding their own in the highest leagues. That's really nice. And just great to be able to see your favorite players return to play and stuff as well, right? Very awesome as to have ourselves the extra barracks all coming through. There is No third CC, right? So this is already looking to be 5 racks, 2 base all in. I said he can do a little bit of anything, and just coming out with strong aggression at the very start of this here is Ryung. So super aggression at the start. We'll see how he is able to keep this going. See if you can actually get this momentum roll. And the thing is with this kind of 2-base aggression is it is very momentum based. You really need to have a good start, else you're generally already in trouble, honestly. So yeah, important to get in here and get things started nice and quickly. Get some efficient trades on the board, start kind of making things go in your favor. Typically what you'll see in these fights is that Ryung is almost always going to have a pretty hefty army supply lead, and soO just needs to try and trade well enough that he can hang on in there, get another round of reinforcements out, and eventually soO's economy will take over because Ryung is playing off of a very low economy because he's only on 2 bases. Obviously, taking out of those 2 bases then becomes very expensive, and that's just not easily done. Let's see how it goes. This first attack coming across has all of the Hellions still alive, by the way, and I think that's very important to note as well, because these Hellions can join in and be an absolute nuisance too. Tanking, adding some splash damage in. It's just great to have those still alive, and I think being able to keep these alive is a key part of making this kind of attack work out. Again, the additional damage that they will be able to deal is alone kind of significant, so yeah, just being able to slash, but I think also just important is potentially taking some shots away from Queens, Lings, Banes onto the Marines and just putting them onto the Hellions instead. Again, just great units to have in front, and it's very rare that you'll find enough damage early to kind of justify giving these up versus what they give you right now. Obviously, if you hit a mineral line, kill a craft and a drone, sure, but that should be the exception rather than the expectation. soO's fight here is pretty convincing, mind you. He's going to be able to get in and really clean this up. So unfortunately for Ryung, this first wave doesn't go well, and I just talked about momentum and taking the lead and really rolling with that lead. Well, that's just not happened at all here. So unfortunately, this is less than ideal as a start. And we're going to have to maybe go back to the drawing board here as Ryung for this game number 1 is absolutely not going his way at all. The problem is, you're completely committed to 2 bases, so if this doesn't work, you're just in so much trouble. And soO is going to take game number 1, and soO on a bit of a hot streak right now, but again, just that one didn't take any time at all. Up in the lead, 1-0, it is going to be our red Zerg player, soO, in the bottom left corner of the map. And he takes on the blue Terran in the top right from Team GP, Ryung. See how we continue then, and see if again we can bounce back as Ryung, or if we are going to see soO just continue to rampage through. I mean, win this in a qualifying match already, so that's a pretty good place to be. What's up, Dragoth? Thank you so much for the 4-month resub on the Prime. Dare I say that's the first sub of the day? I think it is, unless I'm going crazy / missed something. Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Dragoth, for the 4-month resub on the Prime. Hell yeah. Whoop whoop. And Johnson Long, thank you so much for the 8-month resub on the Prime. Everyone getting the Primes out all of a sudden. Thank you so much for the support, mate. Appreciate the subs, and yeah, thank you so very much as we get ourselves off and away into this second map. And well, I can't expect that Ryung stays on only 2 bases this time. I've got to imagine he goes at least to a 3rd base. He can be aggressive off that 3rd CC as well, so that is a possibility. That is an opportunity that you have. We'll see if it's one that Ryung will exercise or not. I just can't imagine he's going to try and go for something 2-base focused again after what just happened in that previous game, which was, well, just not ideal, right? Just wasn't really very pretty at all. So let's see if he can maybe recover in the near future here. Let's got that SCV scout, so he's just very aware of what's going on the other side of the map. Not really any problems there. Just good to know about that straight away. Factory's about to finish up, and we'll see where Ryung takes this. Like I say, it's really kind of down to Ryung, usually how a lot of this early game is going to be looking, so kind of eyes on him to show us what the plan may be. I see 2 CCs on the way up, actually, so continuing to expand as we do have our link speed coming along as well. It's just getting that set up. And we do have our queen hanging out in the main base. And there's our 2 bases on the top right and get online as well. So far, so good. Just going to swap that factory over to the reactor. As we swap that factory over to the reactor, the barracks can go down over to the other side. Hellions produce with 3 CC already. Just a very different approach from Ryung, which, like I say, was pretty much expected. How could you possibly try and justify doing the exact same again? That would have been a little bit of a sign of madness if you try to just go again more of the same, because they got shut down so easily, right? I mean, soO barely even had to look twice at the attack. Just boom, one big fight, wins it convincingly, and that's it. Just soO is immediately in that game 1 victory. So yeah, a little bit of a rough one in that regard. It's going to be a fusion core case, very different from Ryung. I'm going to go into the BCs. I wonder if he'll play mech behind this, or if he'll be happy to play bio. You can play BC into bio, and even BC into bio has become more popular again lately, because I feel like it's just that point in the meta where people are like, oh, BCs, mech is a thing right now. And so they prep for the mech, and then it's actually bio, and you can be caught off guard. You can capitalize much more easily as well on the damage you do early with the battlecruiser if you play bio. Mech just has a long time where it requires setting up, no matter what. So nest is producing as is the lair. That'll be important. Get to Aspire, help against those battlecruisers if at all possible. Would be quite nice. Whoop. My game just skipped a beat right there. My game was just like, ah! Skip. Such kind of a weird one. Not really seen that before. Not like that. I've seen like the game lag up a little bit, but not music at the same time. That was a little interesting. Hellions just coming around trying to poke for an opening. Viking lands as well, just trying to create something in the main base. So really just looking wherever possible to try and deal some damage. Again, not really finding too much success just yet. As these Hellions come around this left-hand side, gonna start roasting up a few lings. Now a bunch of drones in trouble as well. 8-10 drones going down. Okay, well, pretty serious. A little bit of damage dealt there as the Hellions get in, and soO is going to be suffering early. Behind this again, you are going to see that BC coming into harass, but it is going to be mech. Extra factories and armories are on the way. And that means we are going to be seeing a slower follow-up from Ryung, but very powerful once you get going. Just it takes a while to get going. That's the biggest weakness of mech. If you put your opponent far enough behind, then you've got all the time in the world to get your composition up and running, though, as that definitely seems to be the case here. Not a problem at the moment for Ryung, who's killed, well, 18 drones. Is a pretty serious number. It's a lot of workers down already. Heavy losses in those early stages. I'll just have melee upgrades continuing through. So that's maybe one good thing for Ryung as well here too. I say one good thing. I mean, he's having a good game in general, but an extra bonus is the fact that now soO is playing, melee upgrades against mech. Looks like he is going to recognize it, and he is going to start pushing into Rotron, but those melee upgrades are still this kind of thing which just don't really have that much of an impact. You can argue that sometimes you're going to reinforce the Roach style with Lings and Banes, but I often feel like when you do that against mech, you are already kind of just scrambling a little bit. It can work. We've seen it work before. It really requires a very good denial of the opponent's economy. Really keep them on a very low base count and just mass expand yourself. And yeah, that's generally the idea of Zergs in this matchup, but it's on like a whole new level when this is the case. BC going after the Queens. Very nearly getting one of them, but not quite. As the Queens come through and they push that battlecruiser out up the left-hand side. BC just teleporting back home. Maybe as my connection is a blip in the stream. Well, I didn't have any, I mean, surely the blip that's on the stream was just the blip that I saw as well. I didn't drop any frames, which, for there to be a blip on the stream on my side, pretty much has to, I have to drop frames, otherwise it just doesn't really make sense, so. Two more drones going down. Just going to be seeing BC continuing through the bottom side, and fourth base is going to go up to the top. Away we go. Continue to build the BCs, getting Yamato cannon upgrades as well. That mag field accelerator also coming in. Just getting that mag field up and running. As that BCs continue to fly on out again, just moving into this mech play. Still more melee upgrades from soO. So he is going to have Ling Bane be a pretty integral part of his army here, it would seem. PCs are moving up toward the top. And there's going to be seeing a Hellion Cyclone moving out around to the right. I feel like the BCs haven't been as active as I thought they might be in this game. Like, we had some good damage done early. I feel like now the BCs are hanging back a lot, honestly. Maybe seeing our Roach is trying to chase forward here. Cyclones, unfortunately, don't have mag field, otherwise they would have dealt with this much more quickly and much more easily, but still able to deal with those Roaches and get away alive, of course. They can be used again in the future. That's the most important part of this. Knocking down some rocks, just opening up the map, and we do have the Queen Roach Ravager Ling once again gathering up back into the center here. We have Widow Mines, Hellions, tanks all building. We're pretty much maxed out. I mean, if you want to start pushing sooner rather than later is generally good for a mech player, because the longer you wait, the more banker Zerg has. And typically your biggest issue against the Zerg is the fact that they are going to get to build, go, attack you, and then rebuild instantly. So, if, the sooner you fight, the less of a bank there is for that rebuild instantly stage. The more important that typically can turn out to be. Things coming in from either side. Roach Ravager continuing through. The Infestors are poking forward as well. There are the BCs going to teleport into the main. Wow, so that's actually, that was a teleport in as well, right? No, they actually just flew across the map here. Okay, well, even better. That means they have the teleport out available. So even when the Corruptors show up, these BCs should not be taking any losses. And as the power of the BCs, the efficiency they can provide really allows you to play this mech style. Because without the efficiency of the BCs, the mech struggles to get up and online. And, you get overwhelmed too early because the Zerg just does as they wish. And they can just build up all the units they want to kill you with. The BCs do slow a lot of that down. So definitely a notable difference. Greatest Spire is transfusible, of course. It just finished up in time to be transfusible, so we'll get a chance to stay online. The BCs teleport out the moment they come into trouble. You haven't seen the Greatest Spire. I mean, now Thors are on the way up. There's likely an attempt to move into Broodlord, so just build your Broodlord counter and should be golden. Cyclones wanting to go and dodge by as Lings do get a wraparound. Even more of these tanks teaching up over on the right side. Just going to be having the Ling Bane Ravager collecting up on the watchtower still. So showing all of that up over here. Few shots going down. Tanks getting a little bit of a fire at will effort into that army. Extra Thor still coming out, the upgrades coming through. It's going to be seeing our forces here. Well, gonna go very late game. Broodlord's on the way. I always worry a little bit about these broods because I feel like they're not going to do what you want them to do as soO. I feel like they're not going to be as effective as he kind of needs them to be. Broodlords are a tough unit to make work in this day and age, and again, especially when your opponent already has the Thor battlecruiser army up. Like, your opponent's already built into the counter of your, of those Broodlords, so of course they're not likely to do well. Moving through the center, just going to have our PCs up overhead, and they'll move forward and start clearing out a little bit of the creep spread already. So a bit of creep going down. The Thors and the tanks now pulling back over the right-hand side. And everything just joins up together for the moment, so collecting together, getting set to go. And we've seen a few queens moving forward and just going to put some creep spread down as well. So it still has a good amount of units kind of collecting up together here. Just waiting for a chance to really let these units shine. Phoenix Ghosts on the way up as well, and we do just continue to extend later and later into this game. Again, just a lot of tech on either side at this point, but if anyone make a winning push, I mean, for the Terran, it's understandably very difficult to push onto a lot of this creep spread to force a fight into those broods, which are typically, best taken advantage of by moving around a lot more. On the Zerg side of things, well, there is a bunch of, quite literally just the fact there is a bunch of Broodlords up is kind of scary on your own account, because now you're trying to move in and, yeah, it's just not fun. Not fun right now, put it that way, here for soO, because I feel like there's no good way for him to attack in. Because the counter of his opponent's counter setup is already very, very strong here, so I'm not quite convinced about the army of soO. I feel like there is ways for soO's army to fight, but like I say, it's tough because we also have a Terran army that isn't really willing to fight either. Again, especially onto creep, it doesn't really make sense to take that engagement as all, as we're going to be seeing the anti-armor missile going down. A lot of Broodlords going to get caught there. That's then caught up for a lot of damage for a little while. PC's going to come down, going to go pick off this hatchery, and the hatchery going to take some serious hits. Of course, still trying to come through, seeing if they can make a difference. Not really. The Broodlords are going to try and come forward again. They're going to start engaging in towards this army in the center. We drop down a set of broodlings, and missile turret goes down. We reset the anti-armor missile in this army. We even get a little Yamato off on a Broodlord as well. soO's force continuing along. Just going to be seeing everything from soO coming out into the center here, and pretty decent as we do have the creep spread being cleared out. Just opening up the map a bit, and also going to make it tougher for soO to engage and defend his positions. He does have a lot of bases, but so does Ryung. There's not been anything really from soO to stop these bases of Ryung from getting up at all, so Ryung has been able to expand rather freely for the most part. There's not really been issues there. So he tries to go up this ramp, but there's just no way, and you can see soO's supply dips almost immediately. His army composition just does not feel as though it's made to fight what his opponent has at this point, right? It's so far behind what it should be. And that's very difficult. I mean, soO just fights. He's got 10k, 5k to spend, so soO fighting probably just thinking, oh, if I just take a fight here, I can rebuild instantly and get back in this, but I mean, what does he actually rebuild? He's got 75 lava, He's waiting until he sees what he's killed and what's left, and maybe decide what he wants in replacement. He is going to opt for the Infestors and the Corruptors, so seems to believe he needs to continue building a later game army and just setting up for that more than anything else. Get that later game army underway, and then eventually we can end up on... Well, eventually we can end up on the Lings and the Roaches again and stuff, maybe to just overwhelm and swarm. Seems to be a reasonable plan of action, at least. When does Nation War start today? In like 2.5 hours time, I believe. So a little while from now. A little while from now. Let's continue to join together as we do start to push through this group spread, and a lot of this group spread is going to begin going down pretty much straight away. I mean, a few drones going down as well, and we do have, again, just a slowdown on soO, who has got himself a lot of lava and just doesn't seem to know what to do to, with it all. And to be fair, I don't really disagree. What the hell do you do right now, soO? Like, you're in a difficult spot. You've been forced into a difficult spot. You've been kept on this low-tech army for a long time anyway. Don't get me wrong, I'm 100% with him. He's in a tough place. I'm not really sure what you do here, honestly. He's gonna build a Hydra Den. Dare I suggest he might be trying to go Lurkers? I only say it because I feel like Lurkers are the only real thing you can build off of a Hydra Den right now that makes any sense. Like, sure, you don't want to actually build, like, Hydras, It's so late to try and move into Hydras. Hydras just aren't great in the first place. There's so many reasons for this not to actually just be Hydras here. I would imagine. Yo, London the Hunt, thank you again for that 3-month resub, by the way. Appreciate the support. And thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. And there's a few ghost snipes. You're gonna go pew 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 and pick up a couple of kills. Again, that's the efficiency that Ryung has that soO has no real answer to. Top left base immediately just cancel. Not worth trying to fight those Hellbats. He's not set up to fight them, so not going to waste his time trying to. Feeling's though going to find a Thorso on a counterattack. I mean, that's the kind of efficiency you can continue to deal with here as soO, or you continue to want to have. And for the moment, getting a little bit of it at least. Alliance tanks go still pressing forward, just going to be seeing our broods out down to the south, and going to push around, looking to try and make a difference here. A couple tank shots going off, Spores taking damage. I mean, love that Ryung's just got that forward position there. Hold my watchtower makes hold these bottom right bases that much easier. Really makes it tough for soO. Resources lost this game 20.1 to 18.9. It's not that different. I would have thought it might have been worse for soO actually. But no, he's actually traded pretty okay. Kind of needs to, considering his income has not been crazy advantageous all game long. That's one thing you usually have as the Zerg player, but this game you don't, so that part's definitely a little bit funky. Brutes continue down to the south. The Hellions will morph into Hellbats and have a little bit of a look to see just what will happen next in all of this. They try and land a nuke here, which the Broodlords are sitting very close to at the moment. They do back away. They do move out of trouble. That would have been a little bit disastrous, I think it's fair to say. One of the last things you would have wanted to stay stood in. Yeah, that wouldn't have been pretty at all. Is he still not using spellcasters? No, I mean, he's got a few infestors, so it's not like he's completely, it's not like he's completely without kind of, setup. So yeah, Broodlords are going to be, hit by an anti-armor missile, so taking some damage there, and now just going to press forward. This is a decent fight from soO with the support of the Hydras on the ground. I'm surprised to be saying he's actually making a pretty good push for this as he moves on in. Gotta say, yeah, I actually am a little bit shocked right there. That's a really good fight from soO, and he actually wipes Ryung's army a bit. Ryung will have to go back to the drawing board for a little while here. Wow. What a crazy little situation as our Broodlings come through, and they are going to go and see what's going on. Gonna keep on pushing in. I mean, at this point, soO's obviously got a chance to really come in and to make a bit of a difference in this. Really get in, be aggressive. I mean, take advantage of the previous fight. Don't let Ryung remax, because MECH does take a while to rebuild. Oh my god, that's so many Thors. I love the Neo Parasites going down. They are definitely going to help, but will it be enough? Oh, the few Broodlings that are, Broodlords that are left seemingly are making this happen, and I actually do think we have got ourselves soO pushing all the way through this. Wow. Some fantastic fights from soO back to back. I mean, it was right to kind of rush into this one as well, because like I say, it's only going to get better for your opponent over time here, because MECH rebuilds kind of slowly, so if you go quickly, you should have a pretty good time of at least trying to deny that MECH force. I mean, at this point, we're just going to neural another Thor. There's nothing in range to kill off the Infestors, which is a big part of the problem. Finally, a couple of Thors get forward and freeze their Thor buddy. But far, far, far from ideal. So you're seeing these few Hydras trying to trade out at the very end. Both players have used a huge portion of their bank to basically open up to this point and to get into this position and try and rebuild. But, I mean, soO's maxed out and Ryung is not, so that really is just going to set the tone of exactly where we stand here coming out of this game number 2. It really looks good for soO, and well, he would be moving into a qualifying match. I've not kept up with the bracket yet, so I'm not 100% sure who he would play in that qualifying match just now, but yeah, kind of cool that we're going to likely just see it, though. soO. So I think, like I say, everyone really wants to see soO at HomeStory Cup, right? You know, he's a player name that's very familiar. He's been great at HomeStory Cups in the past. I remember having a great time playing poker with him. I'm sure he doesn't remember having a great time with me, but, you know. Different results of different memories. You know, it's he's a fun player to have at the event, and like I say, this isn't qualifying right now, but this puts him in the qualifying match. Don't forget that for Ryung, there is a lower bracket, so you can still try and qualify through that lower bracket as well. As these Hydras come through, Planetary Fortress is going to go down, and just Hydras again completely wrecking through this force. I mean, just going base to base at the moment. Ryung has basically got one rebuild to try and go with, and if he can make something happen with this one big rebuild, then he's got a chance. But it's gonna be tough, and I mean, even now he's losing basically his last eco, so his rebuild stops here, so it's not even gonna be close to maxing out. Or I mean, I guess he kind of somewhat matches soO's army supply, so there is something in there. The siege is up, and soO just going to take a moment or two before chilling out for a moment or so here. I gotta say, it's kind of funny because I know everyone's like, MECH sucks, MECH's bad, but this was one of these games where actually MECH ain't so bad. Like, MECH's meant to be bad in the earlier stages, but this was MECH being kind of not even bad. Like, soO just took a good fight, but MECH got past the stage of the game where MECH's kind of meant to suck, you know? So, well, everyone's kind of quick to jump on and being like, MECH! But actually, yeah, actually a little different, I suppose, in the end. It's just going to be seeing our lurkers and infestors going up and hanging around on that high ground. She's going to hit a pretty nice EMP on the infestors, so draining them of energy for a little bit. That's the exact sort of thing you want to be doing. If you're Ryung right now, give yourself the best possible chance to fight. I just don't really know how he does it with this army. And especially now that soO has money to rebuild with as well, right? Like, soO is building up a bank, he's taking bases behind this. He's put himself in a position where he's absolutely comfortable kind of following up from here, and I think that's one of the most important parts of what he's been able to do. Definitely making a bit of a difference as we just have a few Hydras in the main base. We're going to get rid of tanks and all sorts, so This harassment is working out as well. Reinforcements are not easily able to come through here from Ryung, and again, he's kind of being drawn all over the place and trying to defend against this, so not having a great time in that regard. Tanks and Thors make their way out down to the bottom side, and just going to be seeing soO basically coming around to, again, just keep chasing this army and more or less looking to wrap this up. I mean, it is just going to come down to one big fight at this stage. And, yeah, I mean, soO just has base after base back at home. It's going to take an eternity for Ryung to ever really deny all of that, so that's just unlikely to happen here. And yeah, just going to see a couple of Thors getting neural. We do see the Banes crashing through. Hydra's continuing to fight, and this is just going to be a start, at least from soO. It's actually going to be the GG, and that will do it. As that is going to be soO winning out this game number 2 and going to the qualifying match. GG's.